for him.
782 pounds for Dawson Wyndham. There we go. Wow!
Excellent job. That was better than a second. Let's see what the judges say. 3 white lights from Dawson. That was the best Dawson Wyndham I have ever seen.
Psycho. I love it.
What's up? So today I'm going to go over the ATG accessories for the deadlift. To start out, if you want a big deadlift, step 1 is going to be deadlifts. Step 2 is going to be RDL or stiff leg or snatch grip. Or if you pull conventional, pull sumo. If you pull sumo, pull conventional. Just basically deadlifting in all different variations. And I'm not really going to be covering any of that today. Today's just going to be like ATG accessories. This is what I kind of do after what, like, say a deadlift, the RDL would be a secondary movement. These are things I would put usually after the secondary movement. These are the accessories we're going to be covering today. So the first one we're going to be going over is the Jefferson Curl, single leg back extensions, QL side raises, Nordic Curl, reverse hyper, hip pull through, and then the ATG Pigeon. Again, you don't have to do all of these on one deadlift day, but you can add some of them in, just depending on what your needs are, what you want to explore. And I've found benefits from all of these, and I think they all have helped me build a more durable body and a stronger deadlift. I'm going to be covering is the Jefferson Curl. So a lot of people think like rounded back, bad. If your back rounds when you deadlift, you're going to herniate disc, you're going to hurt yourself. And like, I'm not saying to go round your back as hard as you can with your maximal deadlifts, but like if you are trained to load your back in a flex position, it can tolerate it. So like if I just do this and I bend over, I weigh 240 pounds. My torso, my arms, my shoulders, my lats, all that is load. What I am doing is I am loading my spine basically in a rounded flex position. You know, the hamstrings, glutes, everything on my posterior side, basically calves. So if it can tolerate that load, it can tolerate a little more. So maybe you don't need to start with a 45 pound barbell. Maybe you're a grandma and you're weak and you're fragile. Maybe body weight's a good start. So maybe you should start out body weight, like I said, 10 first. Go into a little bit of weight. I'm gonna act like this barbell isn't here. And say the same thing. This is adding a little more load. And it doesn't necessarily hurt me. If anything, it kind of drags me through the range of motion. And what doing this does, you can continue to progress it, adding more load, adding reps. You can even elevate the front of the foot on like a squat wedge if you want to like stretch your calves out a little more. And what doing this does is it really strengthens your back. And so that if you do ever end up in a rounded and flexed position, you won't get absolutely destroyed. So I see it as like an injury prevention, because one day I'm going to deadlift, my back's going to round more than I wanted it to. I'm going to screw up, you know, same thing as a squat with the see you good morning. So just kind of like insurance, basically. It also gives you like freakish mobility. It's way better than any other hamstring stretch you'll do, and it'll really strengthen the back of the knees too. So that's the Jefferson Curl. So the next one's going to be a single leg back extension. So normal back extension, everyone knows, on a 45-degree hyper. So if you do this single leg, I kind of like put my foot in the middle, especially if you got like a wobbly one here. Kind of stabilize yourself. Both hips are still against the pad. But doing it this way, you get to train your back in kind of a unilateral way. There's a lot of stress put on the hamstring and the glute too. And stability isn't such an issue like it would be with like a single leg RDL. It gives you the same kind of effect like the Nordic Curl would. It puts a lot of stress on the ACL, which can make the back of your knee a lot stronger, which is like one of the main reasons I started doing these due to my knee injury, you know, years ago. Then you just get the unilateral strength on your hips and your hamstrings, you know. So you can do just both single leg until you're near failure, and then once that gets hard, you can take it a little farther and go normal until failure. I mean, that's obviously depending on your fitness level. Like if you have to use both legs to start, that's still great. But if you get great, go single leg. If you get great at that, go single leg with more weight. Like add some body weight, some load to it, put a bar on your back, some dumbbells in your hand, and get good at it, make you a better athlete. One of the main culprits in lower back pain and powerlifting is your QL, it's your quadratus lumborum. It's located right here. Its main function is like lateral spinal flexion. So whenever a lot of people walk out of squat, that happens. The QL takes some load. So having a strong QL will definitely help with your bracing, and it will help prevent lower back pain. Now you can train a few different ways. You know, I like the QL side ways. You can do like a dumbbell side bend. Pretty much any loaded lateral flexion is going to accomplish the job. but this is my favorite one. So I'm gonna work my right side. My right foot's gonna be forward, my left foot behind. I put my elbow and I kind of try to open up and put as much of a stretch on my QL as possible. A lot of people are like, wow, is that oblique? Yes, it works oblique as well. If I went here, it would be more oblique dominant, but if I open up, it lengthens, it strengthens the QL a lot more. So that's how you get a strong QL and hopefully fix some lower back pain. So the next one's going to be a Nordic Curl. I'm already set up for the most progressed version. This is done in the NFL. It's done for like a lot of world-class athletes because it makes you a world-class athlete. It strengthens the back of the knee, it strengthens the ACL, and it strengthens the hamstring in a flexing motion instead of like in a hip extension basically. So your hamstring has two functions. That's both of them. It's important to train both. I do these, I do leg curls, but something about Nordic Curl, it's just way harder than a leg curl. Like this is probably like one of the hardest ATG exercises to do if you're gonna be able to do it with the full range of motion. That's why I'm demonstrating the most progressed version. I have a band hooked up to right behind me, take some weight off. I have a stopper and exercise ball in front of me. And I try to keep my hips forward, and as I drive up, I pull my chest up first, and I try to like arch my back and keep my hips forward the entire time, squeezing my glutes, and then I pull with my hamstring. So it's hips forward, and I up like I'm a dolphin, and then bend the knee. So same way. And once you get better, you can, whatever, I don't use those. Once you get better, you can use a lower stopper, basically. And then you can go all the way down. Be real brave, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, so don't touch me if I fail. Oh God, that rack's popping up, baby. As you can see, it's not a very easy exercise, but that's why I'll make you a world-class athlete. Develop some very strong hamstrings and some very strong ACLs. Oh God, that was painful. The last one we're going to be doing is the reverse hyper. Everyone knows this was made by Louis Simmons. Rest in peace to you, you genius. You were right about everything. It took me 10 years to realize that. But backward sled, training the weak link, that's all we're really doing here. Just in different ways, you know. Like, see, good morning, Louis was doing. No one wants to give him credit, modern powerlifting, but dude, like, this is a gym. He made this because he hurt his lower back. He's doing some box squat, something stupid, and he destroys the disc in his spine. He had to figure out a way to rehab his lower back so he could get strong enough for him to continue squatting and deadlifting. So enter the reverse hyper, and the way you would do it was pretty much be like this, like round, extend, and it's really low impact. If you can't, it gets a lot of blood flow to the lower back, and there's no real axial loading, so no matter how trash your lower back really is, you can really get away with doing some reverse hypers as a way to get some nutrients, blood flow, and strengthen the area. So that's great. That's how he was traditionally did them. I found my own way. I say I found my own way. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. That's why I'm showing this. But I saw him do these. And somewhere in the comments, Juji Mufu said he also did them. It makes more sense because this is the most shortened position for the lower back when you think about it. It's the most shortened position for your glutes as well. It's just the most max amount of hip extension you can get. Sadly, you can't really use the assisted weight on the reverse hyper whenever you're using the full range of motion, just because this piece will like hit your legs. But you can do it in a plank manner where you just hold it, or just reps where you go all the way up. And what that's going to offer compared to any other back exercise, a deadlift, a back extension, this way you end. In this exercise, you end with your hips maximally extended, so your lower back is shortened the most, same for your glutes. And yeah, that's two ways to do the reverse hyper. The next one we're going to be doing is a hip pull through. This one really just targets the glutes and the hamstring. So whenever you do like a normal RDL, a stiff leg, a conventional, a sumo, whatever kind of deadlift, if you look at my back angle, I'm a little bit upright. For worst case scenario, you're like parallel with the floor. It's like shoulders about the same height as your hip. So I want something, I was trying to think, how can I create, a hip extending movement with more hip extension? And when you look at a hip pull through, how I usually stand, I can get my shoulders way below my hips. My hamstrings are way more stretched out, the glutes are way more lengthened. So there's low impact on the lower back. You can do the same thing with a kettlebell swing. or even a snatch grip, just sit already up, or even go low enough. But the main principle is the shoulder being below the hips and just having max hip flexion so you can get max hip extension. And that's the hip cable pull through. So the last one is going to be a way to pretty much strengthen the external rotators of your hip, your piriformis, the glute. So everyone knows this stretch, the pigeon stretch, and they use it all the time. If you have like sciatica, you don't want to be sitting here with like rounding, trying to get down. Like you want your spine neutral, and you want to like just be good posture when you're doing it. And this is great. Same thing as every other stretch. Whenever you're doing it, I'm just kind of putting my body weight on the tissue to load the tissue, and then you're doing it in a static manner. So this would be a good place to begin. But say you want actual relief and you want to get stronger, make an exercise. Let's get strong in the range of motion instead and get lengthened instead. So this would be an ATG Pigeon. I try to keep my back leg relatively straight. And then I just push my knee through the box, come as high as I can, keep the back hip flexor straight. So as if it was an ATG split squat, the glutes flex on the back leg. And if you wanted to progress this exercise a little more, you can elevate that back foot some. I've even seen my friend Jimmy House put his foot in a TRX that kind of swings and moves with him and allows him to get a little more stretch. But as you see, I can get a little deeper here and really just stretch out that hip and accomplish the same thing the pigeon stretch accomplishes in terms of stretching and lengthening, and maybe even to a greater extent. But you also get strong in the range of motion. That could help you with hip pain, that could help you with your sumo deadlift, could help you with a lot. So if you struggle with sciatica, I think this would be worth a try.